What's up, everyone, and welcome to another daily episode where we're going to talk about the mighty Cisco Systems confirming that they've been attacked by Yanluowang's cybercrime gang. If you don't learn anything else from this episode, you just might learn where to focus more attention to protect yourself and others from this type of threat.
Oh, drat these computers. They're so naughty and so complex. I could pinch them.
Cisco Systems revealed details of a May hack by the Yanluowang ransomware group that leveraged a compromised employee's Google account. The networking giant is calling the attack a potential compromise in a Wednesday post by the company's own Cisco Talos threat research arm. During the investigation, it was determined that a Cisco employee's credentials were compromised after an attacker gained control of personal Google account where credentials saved in the victim's browser were being synchronized, wrote Cisco Talos in a lengthy breakdown of the attack. Forensic details of the attack led Cisco Talos researchers to attribute the attack to the Yanluowang threat group, which they maintain has ties to both the UNC 2447 and the notorious Lapsus cybergangs. Ultimately, Cisco Talos said the adversaries were not successful at deploying ransomware malware, however, were successful at penetrating its network and planting a cadre of offensive hacking tools and conducting internal network reconnaissance commonly observed leading up to the deployment of ransomware in victim environments. The crux of the hack was the attacker's ability to compromise the targeted employee's Cisco VPN utility and access the corporate network using that VPN software. Initial access to the Cisco VPN was achieved via successful compromise of a Cisco employee's personal Google account. The user had enabled password syncing via Google Chrome and had stored their Cisco credentials in their browser, enabling that information to synchronize to their Google account, wrote Cisco Talos. So that's a big old oof. Just a word to the wise, don't do this with your corporate access credentials. Ever. Never store them in the browser. There are some things that we still need to just, remember. If you're working from home and somehow your home network gets hacked, you want to be able to have a clean break from your corporate network so that the attackers can't easily move up the chain from your home network to your corporate network. With credentials in their possession, attackers then used a multitude of techniques to bypass the multi-factor authentication tied to the VPN client. Efforts included voice phishing and a type of attack called MFA fatigue. Cisco Talos describes the MFA fatigue attack technique as the process of sending a high volume of push requests to the target's mobile device until the user accepts, either accidentally or simply to attempt to silence the repeated push notifications they are receiving. The MFA spoofing attacks leveraged against the Cisco employee were ultimately successful and allowed the attackers to run the VPN software as the targeted Cisco employee. Once the attacker had obtained initial access, they enrolled a series of new devices for MFA and authenticated successfully to the Cisco VPN, researchers wrote. So again, after the employee allowed someone to get their credentials because they stored their corporate VPN credentials in their browser, and since their browser had syncing and storage of the passwords to their Google account enabled, that information was then passed on and stored in Google. So, mistake number one by the employee. Mistake number two was that the attacker either tricked the user into accepting the MFA push notification on their phone, or the employee got so tired of getting the push notifications they finally just accepted it. Now that seems like another flaw in the system or in the process or documentation about how to handle things like this. Getting tons of push messages for MFA, let alone one unexpected one, should be a red flag to all employees that something is wrong here. The attacker then escalated to administrative privileges, allowing them to log into multiple systems, which alerted our Cisco Security Incident Response Team, who subsequently responded to the incident, Cisco said. Tools used by attackers included LogMeIn and TeamViewer, and also offensive security tools such as Cobalt Strike, Powersploit, Mimikatz, and Impacket. While MFA is considered an essential security posture for organizations, it is far from hack-proof. Last month, Microsoft researchers uncovered a massive phishing campaign that can steal credentials even if a user has MFA enabled, and has so far attempted to compromise more than 10,000 organizations. In response to the attack, On Cisco, Cisco implemented a company-wide password reset immediately, according to the Cisco Talos report. Our findings and subsequent security protections resulting from those customer engagements helped us slow and contain the attacker's progression, they wrote. The company then created two CLAM antivirus signatures, win.exploit.collabco and win.backdoor.collabco, as a precaution to disinfect any possible additional compromised assets. CLAM antivirus signatures is a cross-platform anti-malware toolkit able to detect a variety of malware and viruses. I did an episode on how to set this up on your server, so check out my channel, and if I'm not too lazy, I'll put the link up here. Threat actors commonly use social engineering techniques to compromise targets, and despite the frequency of such attacks, organizations continue to face challenges mitigating those threats. User education is paramount in thwarting such attacks, including making sure employees know the legitimate ways that support personnel will contact users, so that employees can identify fraudulent attempts to obtain sensitive information. And that's the news. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe if you have not already, and smash the bell if you haven't already. And I will see you on the next episode. Take care.